In the vast and often overlooked corners of Bangladesh, there exists a place that embodies both despair and resilience, Dhauladiya, a sprawling settlement along the banks of the Padma River. It stands as a stark reminder of a society where hope is seemingly exhausted, yet stubbornly clings to life amid hardship. This location is widely recognized as the largest red light district in the entire world, with somewhere between 1,600 and 2,000 women residing and working there. Each day, more than 3,000 men traverse into this territory, seeking the services and companionship that are part of its grim reality. But Dhauladiya is not merely a hub of transactional intimacy. It functions as a mirror reflecting the complex, often painful facets of Bangladeshi society, where poverty, age-old traditions, and stark social inequalities collide in a relentless struggle for survival. Many women who find themselves in Dhauladiya come from desperate circumstances, often driven by circumstances they cannot control. Some are brought here by their own families, lured with the promise of a few hundred taka, roughly equivalent to $2, hoping to provide a better future for their loved ones, yet ending up in lives of hardship. Others arrive under false pretenses, deceived by promises of work or a different life that never materializes. Their makeshift homes are simple metal shacks, fragile and exposed to the blazing heat of the sun, which turns these shelters into ovens during the sweltering days. Behind the scenes, the management of this district is often run by women who themselves were once trapped within its confines, having survived the cycle of exploitation and debt, only to become part of its ongoing machinery. The COVID-19 pandemic, which engulfed the world in Div Taisachi Divadkat, cast an even darker shadow over Dhauladiya. Lockdowns and restrictions made life outside its borders increasingly intolerable, and the residents faced heightened struggles. Reports from non-governmental organizations revealed that up to 70% of the women working in this district suffered from severe food shortages, struggling merely to meet their basic needs. Their earnings were minimal, averaging around $2 for 10 minutes of work, yet a significant portion of this income was siphoned off by owners and managers, leaving the women with little hope of achieving independence or financial stability. Despite these overwhelming challenges, a resilient spirit persists among some women. A few have managed to break free from the shackles of debt and servitude, reclaiming their lives after years of hardship. Still, many choose to remain, knowing that society has long since abandoned them and that their futures are uncertain and fraught with prejudice. By the year 2023, only about 200 women had managed to escape Dhauladiya, an alarmingly small number, underscoring how deeply entrenched and difficult it is to leave. Although Bangladeshi law stipulates that individuals must be at least 18 years old to engage in this profession legally, loopholes and lax enforcement allow underage girls to fall through the cracks, perpetuating a cycle of exploitation that demands urgent legal attention. This reality is laid bare in a candid documentary that aims not to condemn but to foster understanding of these hidden human tragedies. It offers an unfiltered view into life in Bangladesh's margins, revealing stories of silent battles fought daily by those who live far removed from the comforts of modern society. For many in Dhauladiya, simply enduring until the next dawn is a triumph, a small victory in a war of survival. Their voices, often unheard and ignored, deserve to be acknowledged and understood. Beyond the grim realities of Dhauladiya, there exists another, equally startling tradition rooted in the isolated coastal villages of Bangladesh, particularly among marginalized groups such as the Bedouin. Here, an unconventional form of survival has emerged, women sharing not only land and resources but also husbands. This practice, although unusual and rarely spoken of openly, is rooted in pragmatic necessity rather than romantic notions of love. It is not a celebration of free affection but a tough, calculated arrangement dictated by economic hardship. Anthropologists documented in Div Taisachi Divadkat that many women, widows or women abandoned by their spouses, survive with the support of 2 or 3 men who are not their official husbands. These men provide the essentials of life: food, safety, and blood relations, in return for female companionship and care. The motivation behind such arrangements is purely economic, given that approximately 38% of Bangladesh's rural population lives below the poverty line, earning less than $1 a day. These communities have devised unconventional strategies to endure. In a world where survival often hinges on the ability to adapt creatively, these shared relationships exemplify resilience born out of necessity, revealing the complex interplay of tradition, poverty, and human endurance. $80 or $90 a day. Such modest sums underpin a form of union that becomes essential for raising children and keeping daily life afloat. In these arrangements, a single mother can sustain her family with the help of several men, each of whom contributes a portion of income, sharing the burden in a way that is often invisible to outsiders. This phenomenon, while widespread in certain regions, remains shrouded in secrecy. It is rarely spoken about openly because outsiders frequently fail to grasp its true nature or the complexities behind it. According to a study conducted in 2024, roughly 5,000 women along the coast of Chittagong are living lives shaped by this reality, although the true number is likely significantly higher, hidden beneath layers of silence and social stigma. When compared to contemporary societies where love and relationships are often reduced to a simple swipe on a dating app, these arrangements seem starkly different, more rooted in necessity than choice. In humble homes with tin roofs, no electricity, and perhaps only a single meal served each day, such decisions no longer provoke shock or outrage. Instead, they evoke profound sadness and empathy. If your heart goes out to these women and you believe in the possibility of a brighter future, sharing your support in a comment beneath this narration can make a difference. Let us now consider the first fact: an astonishingly high population density. Bangladesh ranks among the most densely populated nations on Earth. Its population exceeds 175 million people, packed into a landmass just over 92,000 square kilometers. The capital city, Dhaka, alone is home to around 23 million inhabitants, placing it ninth on the list of most populous cities worldwide. The density here reaches an overwhelming 180 residents per square kilometer. To put that into perspective, New York City has approximately 29,000 people per square kilometer, while Mexico City accommodates about 15,000. In some of the poorest and most crowded slums within Bangladesh, the actual density can be several times higher than these figures suggest. Entire families of 5 or 6 members often share a single room that measures just over 9 square meters, an area roughly the size of a small bedroom in Western countries. This extreme overcrowding results in cramped, stuffy living conditions, with little room for privacy and personal space. The streets are perpetually noisy, filled with the clamor of pedestrians, vendors, and vehicles. According to the 2019 World Air Quality Report by IQAAI, Dhaka ranks among the most polluted cities worldwide. Particulate matter levels in the air soar to 83.3 micrograms per cubic meter, several times higher than the safe limit recommended for adult health. Such dense, polluted environments attract more than just curiosity from tourists. They also bring persistent and sometimes intrusive street vendors, pushy taxi drivers, and unofficial guides eager to offer their services. To mitigate these mounting pressures, the Bangladeshi government is actively working with local authorities to expand the elevated metro rail network, upgrade major roads, and develop new satellite towns. Yet, with a steady annual population growth rate of about 1%, the challenges of space shortages, congestion, and pollution remain persistent and urgent. Traveling by train within Bangladesh epitomizes the struggle for survival amid these hardships. With a population exceeding 170 million, the nation's railway system is perpetually operating at or beyond capacity, especially during peak times such as religious festivals like Eid al-Fitr or national holidays. Consider the short route connecting Dhaka to Gajipur, primarily used by daily commuters. There are only about 10 trains running in each direction on this line. Each train comprises just 6 or 7 carriages, yet these limited services carry up to 10,000 ticketed passengers every single day. That number does not even account for the many individuals who travel without tickets, making the actual figure even higher. The trains leave stations in conditions that are often difficult to imagine: overcrowded, noisy, and frequently lacking basic amenities. Despite these hardships, people continue to rely on this system daily, enduring the chaos and discomfort because it remains their only means of moving through a densely packed, bustling country where space and resources are increasingly scarce. As the carriages reach their full capacity, a scene of chaos and daring unfolds. Hundreds of people, driven by necessity or perhaps a sense of adventure, scramble onto the roofs of the trains, risking their very lives with each daring climb. For many of these travelers, securing a seat inside the train is an elusive victory, a rare moment of comfort amidst the chaos. It is during these days that the savvy traveler chooses to purchase a ticket for the second-class high-speed train, which, despite its modest status, offers a surprisingly luxurious experience. The seat, more than just a place to sit, feels like a slice of first-class comfort, soft, spacious, and surprisingly refined compared to the chaos outside. Yet, even within this seemingly better accommodation, the reality remains cramped. Passengers sit shoulder to shoulder, with barely enough room to move, often feeling as if they are trapped in a crowded, living organism. Many travelers, faced with the discomfort of their journey, avoid eating altogether, knowing that the moment they need to use the toilet, they will confront a true ordeal. The facilities themselves are often in a state of neglect, overflowing, unclean, and barely functional. When the pressure becomes unbearable, travelers sometimes find their clothes and belongings dirtied in the process, a small but tangible reminder of the hardships they endure daily. It is difficult for outsiders to comprehend, but for millions of people in Bangladesh, this scene is part of everyday life, an unvarnished routine of traveling on overcrowded trains over tracks laid more than a century ago, which have seen little significant upgrades since their inception. These aging railways and trains are strained to their limits, struggling to carry thousands of passengers each day and laying bare the stark realities faced by ordinary citizens who rely on this system simply to survive. In a different realm of life, one that echoes with the gentle rhythm of tradition and community, the Burisul floating market offers a stark contrast to the bustling chaos of train journeys. Imagine, instead of navigating noisy streets filled with honking vehicles and crowded markets, shopping takes place on tranquil waters, with vendors gliding serenely across the canals in wooden boats. In the southern region of Bangladesh, in Burisul, this is not a distant fantasy but a vivid, living reality. From the early hours of dawn, the floating market awakens, alive with activity. Vendors sell fresh fruits, vibrant vegetables, and everyday essentials directly from their boats, creating a scene of peaceful commerce that seems suspended in time. Instead of customers walking along crowded streets, hundreds of boats laden with produce drift along the waterways, their operators exchanging goods, money, and greetings with ease and familiarity. Shoppers do not need to step ashore. They simply swim close to the boats, conduct their exchanges, and then glide away, returning to their daily routines. This scene resembles a dreamscape, evoking images of a bygone era, yet it remains a vital part of rural life in Bangladesh. The atmosphere here is unhurried, calm, and genuine, reflecting the complex, resilient spirit of the people whose livelihoods depend on these waters. While the Burisul floating market may not possess the grand spectacle of the floating markets in Thailand, its authenticity and simplicity leave a deep, unforgettable impression. As the sun rises behind swaying coconut palms, the scene transforms into more than just a marketplace. It becomes an intimate, slow-moving window into a way of life that seems almost untouched by modernity. It is a poignant reminder of traditions long past, now woven into the fabric of daily existence. Amidst these vivid images of life and commerce, Bangladesh faces a mounting environmental crisis that threatens its very future. The country is grappling with large-scale pollution affecting its air, water, and land, an urgent and complex challenge that demands immediate attention. In the year 2024, Bangladesh was ranked as the second most polluted country in the world in terms of air quality, with the capital, Dhaka, earning the unfortunate distinction of being the third most polluted city globally. Measurements of fine particulate matter, known as PM2, PAT, averaged around 78 micrograms per cubic meter, almost 8 times higher than the safe threshold established by the European Commission. The primary culprits behind this alarming deterioration are numerous: emissions from millions of vehicles clogging the streets, aging brick factories belching smoke, industrial plants spewing pollutants, waste incineration, and the widespread use of coal in households and industries. All of these sources contribute to a dense, toxic cloud of fine particles and sulfur compounds that fill the air, making breathing a hazardous activity for many. The consequences of this environmental degradation are dire. It is estimated that up to 55% of premature deaths in Bangladesh can be attributed to air pollution, resulting in over 2.5 billion years of healthy, productive life lost each year due to disability and illness. Yet, the problem extends far beyond the polluted skies. The country's vital freshwater resources are also under severe threat. Major rivers such as the Buriganga, Shitalaksha, approximately 13.4% of water samples tested for drinking purposes in Bangladesh were found to contain levels of mice that exceeded what is deemed safe and acceptable. The presence of these mice in the water supply significantly raises health concerns, as it substantially increases the risk of developing cancer as well as various chronic illnesses. At the same time, the country faces a serious problem of saltwater intrusion, a phenomenon that has been worsened by the ongoing impacts of climate change and frequent coastal storms. This environmental pressure has particularly affected the Khulna region, where the influx of seawater has transformed once freshwater sources into brackish, saline water. As a result, local communities are increasingly deprived of access to safe, potable water, which in turn has led to a sharp rise in cases of kidney diseases among residents. The rapid expansion of coal-fired power plants across Bangladesh has become another pressing issue. The growth of this sector has driven the country's carbon emissions to approximately 60 million tons in the year 2023. This surge not only contributes heavily to environmental pollution but also aggravates the overall greenhouse effect, further accelerating climate change. Concurrently, Bangladesh's burgeoning plastic crisis has given rise to a shadowy recycling industry that operates on the fringes of legality. Thousands of impoverished children and destitute individuals scavenge through toxic waste dumps in search of recyclable materials, unwittingly exposing themselves to hazardous substances. These perilous conditions put them at heightened risk of developing cancer, respiratory ailments, and other serious health problems. Every year, environmental pollution in Bangladesh is responsible for approximately 272,000 premature deaths. The economic toll is equally alarming, amounting to losses equal to around 17.6% of the nation's gross domestic product. Specifically, air pollution alone accounts for more than 8% of GDP losses, in addition to nearly 90,000 fatalities annually. These stark facts vividly illustrate that pollution in Bangladesh extends far beyond local concerns. It has become a global challenge demanding urgent, coordinated, and multi-sectoral interventions. Only through comprehensive solutions can we hope to safeguard the health and livelihoods of millions of people across the country. If you find Bangladesh's history and current challenges intriguing, please show your support by liking this video and sharing your thoughts in the comments. Let us know which country you would like to explore next. Now, turning our attention to Dhaka, the vibrant capital of Bangladesh, we see a city marked by striking contrasts and captivating dualities. Are there other cities around the world that draw admiration precisely because of their stark differences? Dhaka exemplifies this phenomenon perfectly. In one part of the city, tradition and modernity coexist in a delicate balance, and scenes of luxury are often juxtaposed with scenes of poverty. To the north of Dhaka lie the upscale districts of Gulshan and Banani, areas that embody urban prosperity at its finest. Here, affluent residents live behind high walls and gates, within exquisite villas that showcase modern architecture and luxury. These neighborhoods are bustling with activity. Shopping malls illuminated by neon lights, chic cafes serving European-style coffee, and streets filled with fashionable boutiques. Gulshan, historically a diplomatic enclave, hosts a concentration of embassies, towering glass skyscrapers, five-star hotels, international corporations, private banks, and designer stores. Trendy cafes and restaurants serve artisanal espresso, sourdough bread, and quinoa salads, attracting a cosmopolitan crowd of young professionals and expatriates seeking a touch of European elegance. Adjacent to Gulshan is Banani, an even more lively and youthful district, known for its vibrant energy and creative atmosphere. This area is dotted with designer boutiques, rooftop bars offering panoramic city views, art galleries showcasing local talent, innovative studios, and eateries that serve modern fusion cuisine. One of the most bustling streets here is Bani Odinatkat, a lively thoroughfare lined with diverse eateries, sushi bars, American burger joints, Korean buffets, and stylish lounges reminiscent of the upscale districts of Singapore or Dubai. Both Gulshan and Banani have developed into genuine urban oases, boasting impressive infrastructure that supports their status as hubs of wealth and modernity. In these districts, the monthly rent for a luxury apartment can reach several $1,000s, comparable to the most affluent areas in Bangkok or Jakarta. Yet, this glossy veneer of prosperity starkly contrasts with the reality just a few minutes away. Beyond the shimmering skyscrapers and gated villas, Dhaka reveals a very different face. The cityscape shifts from modern shopping malls and luxury residences to dusty, bustling street markets and makeshift shanties constructed from tin and other scrap materials. Narrow alleyways wind through neighborhoods where poverty is palpable, and the contrast between affluence and hardship is impossible to ignore. This juxtaposition underscores the profound socioeconomic divides that define Dhaka, making it a city of both remarkable beauty and persistent struggle, a place where the extremes of wealth and poverty coexist in a complex and often challenging tapestry. Nestled within the bustling urban landscape of Dhaka, there exists an area known as Kerala, one of the city's largest and most densely populated slums. This sprawling enclave is situated in a precarious position, squeezed tightly between the affluent neighborhoods of Gulshan and Banani, which are renowned for their modernity, luxury, and prosperity. On the map, Kerala might appear as a slender, almost insignificant strip of land, resembling a narrow ribbon of Lake Banani stretching through the cityscape. Yet, in reality, it is a vibrant, chaotic community that is home to more than 100,000 residents, each living in conditions vastly different from those of the nearby upscale districts. Covering an area of over 90 acres, roughly 36 garos, a local measurement, Kerala is characterized by a maze of makeshift dwellings that resemble a honeycomb in structure. These houses are haphazardly constructed from whatever materials can be scavenged or repurposed: scrap metal, battered wood, plastic sheeting, and other discarded debris, meticulously assembled on supports of bamboo or atop concrete piles hammered into the muddy ground. The resulting landscape is a patchwork of irregular, low-roofed structures that make the intense summer heat almost unbearable, forcing residents to endure scorching days in cramped, poorly ventilated homes. During the monsoon season, flooding becomes a relentless threat, often inundating the entire area with muddy, polluted water that seeps into homes and streets, turning the community into a quagmire. The narrow, winding alleys of Kerala are designed for only one person to navigate at a time, snaking through the dense clusters of dwellings that lack formal addresses or any semblance of urban planning. These labyrinthine pathways form a tangled web that makes mobility difficult but is nonetheless vital for daily life. Despite the apparent chaos, this neighborhood plays an essential role in Dhaka's economy. Most of its residents work tirelessly in physically demanding jobs, pulling rickshaws through congested streets, working as domestic helpers, laboring on construction sites, hawking goods on busy street corners, or manufacturing garments in nearby factories. These hard-working individuals are the invisible backbone that sustains Dhaka's wealthier districts, supporting the city's thriving commercial and residential zones from the shadows. Unfortunately, the infrastructure in Kerala is almost non-existent and remains unrecognized by local authorities. Electricity and water are supplied through illegal, unregulated connections, an intricate, fragile network that often sparks fires or outages. Public sanitation facilities are virtually absent. Only a handful of communal toilets exist, and wastewater frequently flows untreated into the nearby lake, contributing to severe environmental pollution. During the rainy season, the entire area turns into a flooded expanse of dirty water, which seeps into homes, contaminating kitchens and living spaces. Medical services and formal education are scarce, leaving families dependent on international government organizations, IGOs, and NGOs to establish temporary schools, clinics, and emergency aid programs. These efforts, while vital, are often limited by the lack of sustainable infrastructure and resources, leaving residents in a cycle of vulnerability. Far across the border in Bangladesh, in the district of Cox's Bazar, lies the sprawling Kutupalong camp, arguably the largest refugee settlement in the world. Covering approximately 4.5 square miles, this vast encampment is a stark testament to the global scale of displacement, housing more than 931,000 Rohingya refugees. These individuals arrived here in waves of desperation after fleeing the violence that erupted in Myanmar's Rakhine state, beginning in August 2017. The mass attacks and persecution compelled hundreds of thousands of Rohingya to abandon their homes and seek refuge across the border, exceeding the camp's original capacity of approximately 800,000. Within Kutupalong, families huddle together in fragile shelters made of bamboo, tarpaulin, and woven mats, forming a patchwork of temporary dwellings that stretch as far as the eye can see. These makeshift homes, though vital for survival, are perilously vulnerable to the relentless forces of nature, especially during the monsoon season, when heavy rains threaten to cause floods and landslides that can demolish entire sections of the camp. The residents face dire shortages of clean water, adequate sanitation, and medical care. Many are vulnerable to disease, malnutrition, and injury, with limited access to healthcare facilities that are often overwhelmed and under-equipped. Despite the persistent efforts of humanitarian organizations such as the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, the World Food Programme, and international partners from the European Union, the United States, Canada, Japan, Finland, and Sweden, the aid delivered is often insufficient due to chronic funding shortages. These gaps in resources lead to regular disruptions in the supply of food, medicines, and essential services, leaving the refugees in a constant state of uncertainty and hardship. The camp is surrounded by barbed wire fences, intended to prevent human trafficking and unauthorized crossings, but this security measure also impedes emergency evacuations during fires. The Kidra community in Bangladesh exemplifies a persistent struggle for survival, dignity, and recognition within a society that often regards them with ambivalence or outright rejection. As they move through the lively, chaotic streets of Dhaka, their presence is unmistakable. Dressed in vibrant, shimmering saris, they often gather in bustling markets, clapping their hands rhythmically and bestowing blessings upon passers-by with warm smiles. Their colorful attire and spirited gestures make them highly visible, yet at the same time, they are pushed to the margins of society, often overlooked or dismissed. Sometimes, grateful vendors or shoppers offer them a few taka, small tokens of appreciation, yet more often than not, they face indifference or even hostility. Many are met with turning heads, ignored pleas, or hurried shoves, as if their very existence is an inconvenience. This stark reality defines life for the Kidra community in Bangladesh, a life marked by struggle, resilience, and a constant quest for acceptance. The term Kidra originates from South Asia and refers to individuals whose gender identity does not conform strictly to the binary categories of male or female. This concept has deep historical roots, stretching back centuries. In ancient Hindu scriptures such as the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, Kidras are mentioned as beings endowed with spiritual gifts and often participating in sacred rituals. These texts suggest that, in earlier times, Kidras held a recognized and sometimes revered place within the cultural and spiritual fabric of society. However, with the advent of colonial rule under the British Empire, the status of Kidras deteriorated sharply. Colonial authorities imposed strict legal codes and social norms that marginalized these gender-diverse individuals, pushing them further to society's edges. They were deprived of respect, denied legal recognition, and subjected to discrimination and violence. A significant turning point occurred in 2013 when the Bangladeshi government officially acknowledged the existence of a third gender in official documents. This recognition was seen as a step forward, a formal acknowledgement that these individuals are an integral part of society. Yet, as Mr. Law, an activist from the community, admits, substantial challenges remain. According to reports by Human Rights Watch, many Kidras are expelled from their families at an early age, often facing rejection and abandonment. They are denied access to basic human rights such as education and healthcare, leaving them vulnerable to illness and illiteracy. The labor market offers little refuge, discrimination is widespread, and opportunities are scarce. Consequently, many Kidras survive on the fringes by begging in markets and on buses, or by earning money through traditional blessings that they offer to strangers. Without robust legal protections, they are compelled to find precarious ways to make ends meet, often risking their safety and well-being. A comprehensive study conducted in 2021 by the Daily Star revealed that more than 70% of Kidras have endured severe violence and prejudice throughout their lives. Despite these hardships, there is a flicker of hope fueled by the efforts of various nonprofit organizations. Groups like the Bandhu Social Welfare Society and Oh Boy AB are working tirelessly to provide gender-sensitive healthcare, psychological support, and educational opportunities. They organize vocational training in skills such as hairdressing, sewing, and other life skills within the community centers specifically designed for Kidras. These initiatives aim to empower them economically and socially, helping to break the cycle of marginalization. Some individuals, like Pinky, who took the courageous step of speaking in the Bangladesh parliament, have become vocal activists challenging the stereotype that Kidras can only survive through begging. Their voices are gradually changing perceptions, inspiring others within the community and beyond. The government has also begun to take small but meaningful steps, hiring Kidras to work in public sector roles and launching awareness campaigns to foster understanding and acceptance. While progress remains slow and often incomplete, these initiatives represent important signs of change. They suggest that society is beginning to recognize the dignity and humanity of Kidra individuals, moving beyond mere tolerance to genuine inclusion. The story of the Kidra community is ultimately a powerful symbol of a broader struggle, not just for basic rights but for acknowledgement, respect, and societal acceptance. Their resilience in the face of adversity underscores the importance of ongoing efforts to ensure that they are seen not as outcasts or anomalies, but as valued members of society. Their journey reflects a universal desire for dignity and recognition, a fight that continues to inspire those working towards a more equitable world. Meanwhile, Bangladesh's role in the global economy reveals a different yet interconnected story, one of exploitation and hardship. The country has become known as a major manufacturing hub, often called a global factory, but at a high human cost. The foundation of this industry is built upon remarkably inexpensive labor. Each year, Bangladesh produces millions of garments, from t-shirts to jeans, primarily because the cost of labor is so low that it undercuts competitors worldwide. Most workers in this sector earn only $2 or $3 a day, which translates to less than $100 a month, and many workers labor tirelessly for more than 10 hours each day, often without the benefit of paid holidays, health insurance, or any genuine rights to safeguard their well-being. They find themselves in a vulnerable position, unable to negotiate better wages or conditions, and left defenseless when accidents or emergencies arise. Reflecting on the tragic collapse of the R Plaza building in 2013, one cannot forget the stark reality faced by these laborers. Despite repeated, clear warnings about the structural weaknesses of the building, they were compelled to enter and continue working within its unstable walls. When the structure finally gave way, the disaster resulted in the deaths of over 1,100 individuals, most of whom were young women, who perished within seconds. Yet, it is important to recognize that working in a garment factory, while perilous, is not the deadliest occupation in the region. In the coastal city of Chittagong, ship dismantling exposes workers to even greater dangers. Every day, tens of thousands of individuals, including children, risk their lives by dismantling enormous, aging ships. These workers often labor without masks or gloves, breathing in toxic fumes from oil, paint, asbestos, and other hazardous substances. Injuries, burns, and fatalities occur with alarming regularity, as routine as the sunrise. Statistically, at least one worker loses their life each week at these shipbreaking docks, and many do not survive to see their 50th birthday. All of this hardship persists in the name of maintaining a global supply chain where the relentless demand for fast, inexpensive goods far outweighs considerations for human life and safety. While the garment industry has undeniably lifted millions out of poverty, it has simultaneously entrapped countless others in a relentless cycle of exhaustion, danger, and endless toil. Behind every meticulously stitched seam lies a story of hope, sacrifice, and silent perseverance, workers supporting the insatiable appetite of global consumption. Bangladesh, a small nation nestled along the Bay of Bengal, has established itself as the second largest garment exporter in the world, trailing only behind China. Its light industry sector forms the backbone of the national economy, generating more than 80% of the country's export revenue and providing employment to over 4.5 million people, predominantly women. These women and men stitch garments that are shipped across the globe, fueling the fast fashion industry and satisfying the desires of consumers worldwide. According to the World Trade Organization, in 2023, Bangladesh exported roughly $38 billion worth of clothing, capturing about 7.4% of the global market share. During the first 7 months of the 2024 to 2025 fiscal year, the value of exports soared to $26.8 billion, an increase of more than 10% compared to the same period the previous year. From the bustling industrial zones of Dhaka to the sprawling workshops of Gazipur, Bangladesh is effectively clothing the entire planet. Major international brands such as Zara, H&M, Gap, Uniqlo, and Walmart place enormous orders here, with some retail chains relying entirely on Bangladeshi manufacturing. It's quite possible that something hanging in your wardrobe, perhaps a shirt, a pair of jeans, or a jacket, was made in this small yet influential country. However, behind this remarkable success story lies a heavy toll. The country's reliance on cheap labor and a highly flexible, often exploitative production system has transformed Bangladesh into a global garment factory. Yet, this economic model comes with significant challenges. Factory conditions are frequently harsh and unsafe, wages are often insufficient to meet basic living needs, and tragedies reminiscent of the R Plaza disaster continue to cast a shadow over the industry. Restrictions on trade union activities and limitations on workers' rights only exacerbate these issues, preventing workers from organizing for better conditions. While consumers in the rest of the world enjoy affordable and trendy fashion, the true cost of this convenience is paid by countless workers in Bangladesh. Behind every export figure, every piece of clothing shipped abroad, is a small nation grappling with the difficult task of balancing rapid economic growth with the imperative to safeguard the health, safety, and dignity of its people. And amidst these struggles, Bangladesh is also home to the largest contiguous mangrove forests in the world, vital ecosystems that serve as a natural shield against climate change and coastal erosion. These lush, green forests are not only a sanctuary for diverse wildlife but also a crucial barrier for millions of people living along the coastline, protecting them from the devastating impacts of rising sea levels and storms. Their preservation is essential, yet they face increasing threats from deforestation, encroachment, and environmental degradation, challenges that mirror the complex vulnerabilities of a nation caught between economic development and ecological conservation. A saltwater swamp forest, such as the Sundarbans, is designated a World Heritage Site because it embodies an extraordinary combination of ecological significance, biodiversity, and natural beauty that is unparalleled anywhere else on the planet. These vast, intricate ecosystems are recognized not only for their unique environment but also for their crucial role in maintaining the health of our global climate and supporting countless forms of life. The Sundarbans, in particular, stands out as the world's largest mangrove forest, stretching across a sprawling delta formed by the confluence of the Ganges, Brahmaputra, and Meghna rivers. Covering more than 10,000 square kilometers, approximately 60% of this expansive area lies within Bangladesh's borders. In 1997, UNESCO officially acknowledged its exceptional value by designating it a World Heritage Site, acknowledging the Sundarbans as an ecological masterpiece that holds no equal in the natural world. This extraordinary region is crisscrossed by thousands of winding waterways, channels, and tidal streams that carve through the tiny islands and sedimentary banks. These islands are home to a dense growth of mangrove trees such as Sundari, Kiora, and Jiva, which flourish in the salty, nutrient-rich soils. These resilient trees form a living barrier that offers vital protection to the coastline, shielding it from the relentless forces of nature, storm surges, flooding, and the rising threat of climate change. Beyond their protective function, the mangroves serve as a vital habitat for an astonishing diversity of wildlife. The Sundarbans are not just a lush, verdant expanse. They are the last natural refuge for the Bengal tiger, a majestic and ferocious predator that embodies the wild spirit of this wilderness. As of 2023, the Bangladesh Forest Department estimates that approximately 114 tigers still roam these forests, silently stalking their prey amid the dense foliage and waterways. The presence of these formidable predators is just one facet of the region's rich biodiversity. The Sundarbans are teeming with life. More than 300 species of birds, including migratory and resident varieties, soar and nest among the trees and wetlands. The area also supports 2 species of mammals, numerous reptiles such as saltwater crocodiles and sea snakes, and a diverse array of fish. From Eurasian scaly-sided mergansers and swamp deer to the formidable saltwater crocodiles, each creature plays a role in the delicate ecological balance that sustains this unique environment. Beneath the surface, microscopic plankton and other aquatic organisms form the foundation of a thriving fishery, supporting local livelihoods through fishing, shrimp farming, and honey collection. This harmonious coexistence between humans and nature underscores the deep spiritual and practical connection that the local communities have with the forest. For the people living along the rivers and within the villages scattered throughout the region, the Sundarbans are more than just a source of livelihood, they are a vital part of their identity and spiritual life. Honey collectors, fishermen, and forest guards all share a profound bond with the forest, viewing it as both a home and a sacred space. Their daily routines involve risks and sacrifices, as venturing into the forest could mean encountering a prowling tiger or being caught in sudden, destructive tides. Yet, despite these dangers, their dependence on the forest remains unwavering, rooted in centuries of tradition and survival. Nevertheless, this fragile balance faces increasingly severe threats from the modern world. Rising sea levels, driven by global climate change, continue to push salty seawater further inland each year, making it harder for many plants and animals to survive in their natural habitat. The region has also borne the brunt of powerful cyclones, such as Sidr in 2007, Aila in 2009, and Amphan in 2020, which have wreaked havoc on coastal communities, leaving hundreds of thousands homeless and destroying vital ecosystems. Additionally, unchecked exploitation of forest resources and industrial pollution threaten to undermine the ecological integrity of the mangroves, endangering both wildlife and human communities. Despite these challenges, the government of Bangladesh, in collaboration with international partners and environmental organizations, is actively engaged in efforts to restore and protect this invaluable wilderness. Initiatives aimed at replanting mangroves, safeguarding tiger populations, and establishing sustainable livelihoods for local residents are ongoing, reflecting a collective commitment to preserving this natural treasure for future generations. The Sundarbans are far more than a natural wonder. They stand as a crucial front in humanity's ongoing fight against the devastating impacts of climate change. Their preservation is vital not only for the ecological balance of the region but also for the well-being of millions of people who depend directly on its resources. Every year, a remarkable event takes place on the banks of the Turak River near Dhaka, where millions of devout believers gather in a peaceful, silent sea of worshippers. This gathering, known as Bishwadam, is the second largest Islamic assembly in the world after the pilgrimage to Mecca. Over 3 days, people from all corners of Bangladesh and over 150 they arrive not driven by political ambitions or a desire for power, but propelled instead by a profound yearning for spiritual cleansing, inner renewal, and a sense of unity that transcends all borders and boundaries. Amid the resonant echoes of sermons and the quietude of personal prayers, a sacred moment unfolds, Ahara Munajat, the collective supplication, when millions of hands are raised in unison toward the heavens, forming a powerful visual testament to shared faith. In that instant, all distinctions dissolve. Race, creed, and social status fade into insignificance, leaving only a deep, unifying trust that binds everyone together. The atmosphere throughout this gathering is suffused with reverence and compassion, creating an environment where humility and love flourish side by side. Behind the scenes, thousands of volunteers work tirelessly and selflessly, preparing nourishing food and providing free accommodation for the endless procession of pilgrims eager to partake in this spiritual journey. Remarkably, all of this occurs with an astonishing sense of order and tranquility, even in a developing nation that faces daily hardships and challenges. Bishwa Iktima is far more than just a festival. It stands as a powerful reminder that, despite the chaos and noise of a tumultuous age, there remain places where people can pause, come together, and seek a moment of spiritual illumination in silence. It embodies a true pilgrimage, an act of faith and community that persists amid a rapidly changing world, offering hope and connection in times of uncertainty. At the same time, society is witnessing the rise of mass weddings, events that emphasize communal bonds over individual celebrations. In Bangladesh, particularly in rural regions, weddings are increasingly transforming from intimate family affairs into larger social gatherings, serving as communal milestones rather than private ceremonies. These mass wedding events are becoming more common and present a practical solution for couples who might otherwise struggle with the costs of individual ceremonies. Instead of incurring debt or financial strain, newlyweds have the opportunity to marry in a dignified, organized group setting sponsored by government agencies, charitable organizations, or religious groups. At many of these ceremonies, hundreds of couples don traditional attire and jewelry provided by the organizers, sharing in a collective joy that often brings tears of happiness as they begin their new lives together. Yet, the significance of these gatherings extends well beyond mere financial convenience. Mass weddings are increasingly influencing public consciousness, challenging traditional notions of marriage and social expectations. According to reports from UNICEF and UNFPA, more than half of Bangladeshi women had entered into marriage before reaching the age of 18, highlighting the persistent issue of child marriage. These collective ceremonies serve as a community-based effort to combat this practice, promoting more mature and voluntary unions. The entire community, relatives, neighbors, and local leaders, gathers to bless and support the young couples, transforming the event into a true celebration of unity and shared responsibility. For many, these weddings are not just about the union of two individuals but are emblematic of a broader movement toward compassion, equality, and social cohesion. They symbolize a shift where community and collective support lay the foundation for a more modern and inclusive approach to marriage. Among the most astonishing and rare conditions in the world is the syndrome known as tree man syndrome. Some stories are genuinely extraordinary and deeply moving, such as that of Abul Bajandar, often called the tree man of Bangladesh. Abul suffers from epidermodysplasia verruciformis, an exceedingly rare genetic disorder characterized by the growth of tree-like skin protrusions. These growths, resembling rough bark or roots, cover his arms, legs, and face, giving him the appearance of a living tree. To many, his hands seem like decaying wood, rough and insensitive, so heavy that he is unable to embrace his own child. Over the course of more than a decade, Abul endured relentless pain and profound mental anguish, convinced that he would never lead a normal life. But hope emerged in the year 2016. Skilled doctors at Dhaka Medical College conducted 16 complex surgeries, carefully removing nearly 5 kilograms of these abnormal growths, offering a chance at a new beginning. Then came a moment that would remain forever etched in his memory. After many long years of suffering and hardship, Abul finally experienced a miracle. He was able to move his arm for the first time in what felt like an eternity. With trembling hope and renewed strength, he reached out and embraced his daughter in a heartfelt hug, a simple act laden with profound meaning. Though the disease that had plagued him was not entirely curable and the threat of relapse always lingered in the background, this moment of progress had rekindled his faith in the possibility of hope and healing. His journey, marked by perseverance and undying belief, went beyond medical victory. It became a testament to the indomitable resilience of the human spirit. Abul's story is not merely a case study of illness, it's a powerful reminder that, regardless of the severity of suffering, everyone deserving of compassion and recovery can find strength to persevere. This story resonates deeply, echoing the struggles and triumphs of many, especially those who face seemingly insurmountable challenges with courage and dignity. The so-called tree man from Bangladesh, a figure who captured the collective heart of millions through his extraordinary ordeal and unwavering endurance, is more than just a rare patient with a rare condition. He has become a symbol, an emblem of compassion, dignity, and the relentless human capacity to confront and overcome life's most arduous trials. His journey embodies the essence of hope, inspiring countless others to believe that even in the darkest moments, resilience and empathy can forge a path toward healing and renewal. What are your thoughts on this remarkable journey? Feel free to share your reflections below, whether they are words of encouragement, expressions of solidarity, or insights. Your voice matters, and your perspective can inspire others. We genuinely look forward to hearing your opinion and engaging in meaningful conversation. Meanwhile, in another corner of Bangladesh, a remarkable innovation is transforming the way children learn despite the relentless forces of nature. In regions where frequent floods inundate low-lying rural areas, thousands of young students once faced the heartbreaking reality of school closures whenever water levels rose and submerged their classrooms. Yet, instead of surrendering to these natural obstacles, local communities demonstrated extraordinary ingenuity and resilience. They devised a solution that turned adversity into opportunity. They moved their schools onto boats. These floating classrooms, made possible through the efforts of the organization Svanarvasta, have revolutionized education in flood-prone zones. Each boat is carefully transformed into a fully functional classroom, equipped with desks, blackboards, textbooks, and even solar panels that provide lighting and power for technological devices. Every year, more than 2,000 children are transported safely across flooded waterways to attend these floating schools, bridging the gap created by rising waters. Some of these boats serve additional community functions, acting as mobile libraries or medical clinics, thereby extending their benefits beyond education alone. In a world increasingly affected by climate change and poverty, such initiatives serve as beacons of hope, proof that the quest for knowledge persists despite environmental hardships. These floating schools are not mere stopgap measures. They symbolize an unquenchable thirst for learning, resilience in the face of climate adversity, and a steadfast belief that education must continue regardless of circumstance. Even if the Earth's surface is swallowed by floods or other natural calamities, the lessons inside those boats will carry on. Each vessel filled with eager students is more than just a means of transportation. It's a ship of hope, sailing steadily toward a brighter future, one lesson at a time. On another note, in Bangladesh, there exists a common practice that often surprises outsiders: the pricing disparity at many national landmarks. Visitors may find it startling to discover that entry fees for locals are significantly lower than those imposed on foreign tourists, sometimes by a factor of 5 or even 10. For instance, a local might pay 50,000 Dhaka to enter the mangrove forests of the Sundarbans or the historic Labak Fort, while a foreign visitor might be charged 500,000 Dhaka for the same access. This dual-tiered pricing system is prevalent at numerous sites, including the National Museum in Dhaka, as well as ancient archaeological sites like Mahasthangar and Paharpur. The reasoning offered by authorities is that this approach supports the development and sustainability of Bangladesh's burgeoning tourism industry, which remains far behind its neighboring countries. According to the Bangladesh Tourism Board, the annual influx of international visitors hovers around 300,000 to 400,000, far fewer than the numbers seen in Thailand, Nepal, or India. With limited budgets and resources, the higher entrance fees paid by foreign tourists are viewed as a vital source of funding for the preservation and maintenance of these invaluable sites, funds that are essential for conserving historical monuments, natural landscapes, and cultural heritage. This dual pricing strategy reflects the complex balancing act between fostering tourism growth and maintaining the integrity of national treasures. While it may seem unfair or exclusive to some, it is, in many ways, a pragmatic solution aimed at ensuring that Bangladesh's rich cultural and natural legacy can be preserved. However, this pricing approach has sparked considerable controversy. A significant number of travelers perceive the high entrance fees as an invisible barrier, effectively preventing them from immersing themselves in the true essence of Bangladesh's rich cultural and natural heritage. Discussions on international platforms such as TripAdvisor and Lonely Planet are often filled with stories recounting tourists paying up to 5 times the standard rate just to gain access to a typical park or museum. These stories highlight a widespread frustration. The exorbitant prices are not always matched by quality or value. Many visitors find themselves perplexed and disillusioned, questioning the logic behind such markup strategies. In other countries, like Cambodia or Egypt, when the entry fees are higher, they are usually justified by additional benefits, guided tours, audio guides, or insurance, that enhance the visitor's experience and provide a sense of value for the extra cost. Conversely, in Bangladesh, the elevated prices are often charged without offering any extra amenities or services in return. This disconnect leaves tourists doubting whether they are truly getting their money's worth, fostering skepticism and sometimes deterring repeat visits. The feeling that they are paying simply for access, with little to no added benefit, undermines the country's efforts to promote tourism and hampers its potential to attract more international visitors. Fortunately, there are signs that the government has begun to recognize these issues. Certain popular destinations, such as Bagarat and Rangamati, are already in the process of revising their pricing policies, especially for visitors who intend to stay for longer periods or those interested in ecotourism. This shift indicates a growing awareness of the importance of offering more equitable and attractive pricing structures that encourage sustainable tourism. The focus is gradually moving away from merely collecting entrance fees toward fostering tourism experiences that are rooted in local community engagement and benefit sharing, thus creating more meaningful interactions between visitors and the people of Bangladesh. The national symbol of Bangladesh, the majestic Royal Bengal tiger, embodies more than just wildlife. It represents the very soul of the nation. Its iconic image appears on the national emblem, military insignias, and in the collective consciousness of the Bangladeshi people. The tiger's fierce gaze is embedded in the logo of the Bangladesh Cricket Board, and it holds a revered place in the cultural identity of the country. In East Asian traditions, the tiger symbolizes courage, strength, and resilience, traits that resonate deeply within the national psyche. The Sundarbans mangrove forests, home to this formidable predator, are often seen as a symbol of bravery and indomitable spirit, encapsulating the wild beauty and resilience of Bangladesh itself. Yet, beneath this proud emblem lies a troubling and urgent reality. In 2004, the Sundarbans, a vast and vital ecosystem shared between Bangladesh and India, was home to nearly 40 Royal Bengal tigers. By the year 2019, the number on the Bangladeshi side had dwindled drastically to just 114 remaining. This decline is not merely a statistic, it is a stark cry for immediate action. These majestic creatures face relentless threats from multiple fronts: poaching, illegal fishing practices, climate change, and rising sea levels are all contributing to the gradual deterioration of the entire Sundarbans ecosystem. Scientists warn that if these destructive trends continue unabated, the Royal Bengal tiger could vanish from the wild within the next 50 years. Today, this powerful symbol of strength and resilience teeters on the brink of extinction. Its survival depends heavily on the difficult choices faced by the people of Bangladesh, many of whom live in poverty and must prioritize their immediate needs over conservation efforts. Nearly 31.5% of the country's population, amounting to more than 50 million people, live within the framework of multidimensional poverty, where scarcity of resources influences nearly every aspect of daily life. These hardships shape the decisions families are compelled to make, often at the expense of environmental conservation. With limited incomes and minimal social safety nets, many families are forced to send their children into the workforce at an early age, believing that any additional income might help sustain the household. 9 out of 10 children working in family-based sewing workshops admit that their initial motivation was to support their loved ones, not necessarily out of choice but out of necessity. This reality leads to a tragic cycle of educational abandonment, where children forego schooling to earn daily wages, thereby sacrificing their future opportunities for a fleeting chance to help their families survive. Furthermore, the ongoing climate crisis exacerbates these difficulties. Frequent floods and unpredictable weather patterns destroy crops in rural areas, forcing families to abandon their farms and migrate towards cities in search of work. Many end up employed in informal sectors such as textile waste recycling or other low-paying, unstable jobs. This rural-to-urban migration, driven by environmental and economic pressures, underscores the profound challenges faced by millions of Bangladeshis, whose hardships are intricately linked to broader issues of climate change and social inequality. Survival, in its simplest form, often becomes the primary concern for many, especially in a nation grappling with mounting economic challenges. Unemployment, in particular, has escalated to alarming levels, pressing heavily on the lives of young people in Bangladesh. Currently, the unemployment rate among the youth hovers around 16%, a figure that underscores the severity of the crisis. Faced with limited opportunities, many young individuals find themselves compelled to accept unstable, often low-paying jobs that lack security and prospects for growth. Others, driven by the desperation to voice their grievances, take to the streets in protests, demanding change and better living conditions. One of their most urgent demands is an increase in the minimum wage, which stands at roughly 8,300 Dhaka, about $68 per month. Many are advocating for this figure to be raised to 23,000 Dhaka, approximately $197.50, aiming to secure a more livable income. Meanwhile, beneath the surface of this economic turmoil, forced labor continues to persist unabated in various informal sectors. Industries such as dried fish production, brick manufacturing, and leather tanning often rely on exploitative labor practices, sustained by weak labor laws and minimal penalties for violations. These sectors, which form the backbone of many rural economies, are often marked by harsh conditions, where workers are subjected to long hours and little protection. Poverty and economic instability have become deeply ingrained in the fabric of Bangladeshi society, compelling countless individuals to make difficult, often heartbreaking choices in their struggle for survival. They sacrifice their education, foregoing the chance to improve their knowledge and skills. They migrate to unfamiliar places in search of work, and they organize protests, risking their safety, all in hope of a brighter future. Yet, amid the hardships and struggles, Bangladesh's land holds a hidden beauty that many overlook. Despite the frequent natural disasters and challenging living conditions, the country boasts breathtaking natural wonders that continue to captivate visitors from around the globe. The journey begins along the 70-mile stretch of pristine coastline at Cox's Bazar, where the soft, golden sands gently meet the vast expanse of the Bay of Bengal. Here, the horizon is painted with mesmerizing shades of orange and purple as the sun rises and sets, creating a spectacle that seems almost surreal. Walking along this endless stretch of beach, accompanied by the soothing rhythm of crashing waves, visitors can feel a unique blend of energy and tranquility, an experience that connects the pulse of bustling life with the peaceful serenity of the sea. A boat ride takes you further to discover St. Martin's Island, Bangladesh's only coral island. Covering just over 1 square mile, this tiny paradise is adorned with vibrant coral reefs twinkling beneath crystal-clear waters, inviting snorkelers and explorers alike to marvel at marine life. The island's white sandy beaches beckon visitors to relax or indulge in underwater adventures, offering a perfect escape from the chaos of everyday life. Cycling along the coast, you can explore Charodwick, a small island that appears and disappears with the tides, adding an element of fleeting adventure and mystery to your journey. The island's delicate environment and charming simplicity provide a true sense of exploration and wonder. Venturing inland from the coast, the landscape transforms into lush, rolling hills dotted with expansive tea plantations, known as Sri Mangal, Bangladesh's renowned tea capital. Here, endless green fields stretch to the horizon, filling the air with the fragrant aroma of freshly brewed tea leaves. The sights and sounds of workers tending to the plantations breathe life into this picturesque scenery, blending human effort with natural beauty in a harmonious tableau. Nearby, La Cara National Park invites visitors to wander along forest trails, where the sounds of chirping birds and rustling leaves create a peaceful symphony. The park's centerpiece is the enchanting Hum Hum waterfall, a cascade of shimmering water that adds a touch of magic to the lush surroundings. Lastly, stepping back into history, the ruins of the Samapura Mahavihara Monastery in Paharpur stand as a testament to Bangladesh's rich cultural heritage. Dating back to the 10th century during the era of the Pala Empire, this sprawling complex with its distinctive octagonal layout and Desat Taisak Semzo Semdizat Sem cells offers a glimpse into the spiritual and architectural grandeur of the past. For monks and history enthusiasts alike, it is a masterpiece of terracotta masonry, recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1985. Exploring its ancient walls and intricate carvings, visitors can imagine the monks' serene lives and the vibrant scholarly environment that once thrived here. From the sweeping, unspoiled beaches to the vibrant coral islands, from the lush, aromatic tea hills to the historic ruins that whisper stories of bygone eras, Bangladesh remains a hidden treasure. Its landscapes and cultural sites reveal that, even in the face of adversity, resilience and natural beauty continue to endure. Through this journey, we have uncovered both the stark realities and the enchanting wonders that define Bangladesh. What surprised you most about this land? Or perhaps you have a personal. Please remember to share your thoughts by leaving a comment, letting us know which country you would like us to explore in our upcoming videos. Your suggestions mean a lot to us and help shape the content we create. We sincerely appreciate you taking the time to watch and support our work. Thank you very much for your continued interest, and we look forward to seeing you again in the next video.